I feel like I look like an oil slick. Hey my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea and today we are talking about some new Huda Beauty products. We've got the new Huda Beauty Easy Blur Primer along with the Easy Blur Foundation. We will be doing a full day wear test and I'm also going to be showing you how the two of these pair with the Easy Bake pressed powder. So stay tuned for a full day wear test. I'll be showing you what the product looks like. I'll be walking you through how the product wore throughout the day, who I think this product is best for, and all of those details. But before we get into this video, I just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today. If you are new, click that subscribe button. We'd love for you to join the Glam Girl Squad. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking around, constantly supporting my channel by watching it, liking my video, commenting down below, shopping through my links. You guys are the best community and I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's get right into this video. FYI, we are already at the end of the day with this wear test and I got some things to talk about. Okay, getting into the details though of the primer first, foundation, and then we'll go about our way. So I was told that Huda Beauty, I was talking to one of my friends, Gabe Loves Makeup. Hey Gabe. I was talking to him and he was just like, Huda is really promoting the full blur effect with the primer, the Easy Blur foundation, and then the Easy Bake powder. Now I do not have the Easy Bake loose powder, but I do have this pressed powder, so that's what I did use. And I will share some thoughts with how I feel this face held up with that powder compared to maybe another powder. But let's start off with the Easy Blur Primer. Now, I put the Easy Blur Primer only on this side of the face because I wanted to see, do we really need this primer? How is the difference? You know, is it really making a difference? So this is the Easy Blur Silicone-Free Smoothing and Pore Minimizing Primer. It does retail for $29 and we get a total of 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of product. This is their non-comedogenic jelly-like primer that will instantly control excess oils, add smooth texture, and blur pores for an airbrush, soft focus finish. It's got in it milk thistle extract. This is an antioxidant that is going to soothe oily skin. This has glycerin in it, which is going to moisturize and soothe oily skin. And then it has polymers in it that are going to blur the appearance of pores and smooth texture. The primer is vegan and cruelty-free, and it is best for dry combination, normal skin, and oily skin. This product is fragrance-free. It's gonna leave a slight matte finish on the skin. And some other claims about it, it's supposed to be lightweight, long-lasting, that's gonna have a refreshing and cooling type of feel to the skin. It's gonna layer well on top of skincare and on top of your SPF. And just so that I can put it out there so we're all on the same page, it says for the most blurred complexion, Huda Beauty says do their 1, 2, 3 easy routine. Number 1, prime with the Easy Blur Primer. Huda recommends using 2 finger lengths worth of product. Okay, first mistake for me. I didn't do that, okay? Step 2. Apply Easy Blur Foundation with Huda Beauty's base brush to effortlessly blend and buff into the skin. And then step 3, set with their Easy Bake loose setting and baking powder for the ultimate blurred effect. Okay, so as you saw from the demonstration, I did not use 2 finger lengths worth of this primer. This primer is clear in its consistency. So actually it's got like a light pink hue to it, but it blends out clear. So like I said, it feels like there is silicone in the formula. I think having a jelly-like description does help to describe the texture of this product, but it does blend effortlessly into the skin. Now you can see there's some pilling on the back of my hand and I don't know why because I don't have any lotion on my hand and I just recently washed my hand. But it didn't pill on my face, so I didn't experience that. And when I applied the primer, I had just finished applying my skincare. It was definitely probably a good 10 minutes between my skincare application and then putting on this primer. But I did not experience any pilling of this primer on the skin, and I was happy with that. Looking at this hand with the primer versus this hand without the primer, you do see a nice blurred effect. And when I looked at my skin after applying it on this side compared to this side, I was like, okay, I do feel like I see a bit of a blurring effect just with this primer alone. So I will say that upon initial application, I do feel like this does blur the skin. Personally, I don't want to use 2 finger lengths worth of any type of product that's not skincare. So I can't say I won't try it, but that just seems like a lot of product because this is a thicker product as well. Like it's pretty thick in its consistency. So I'm like 2 finger lengths worth of product. Let's actually do this here. I'm gonna apply 2 finger lengths worth of product and we're gonna blend it on the back of my hand just so we can see it in action. All right, so here's 2 finger lengths worth of product. Let's just blend it. Now, you know what? Okay, see, this is why you do stuff. If I had to apply this all over my face, maybe this wouldn't be too much product because it's going all over my face. I only used it really like in my T-zone. So I applied it here, a little bit on my forehead, and also on my chin. So let me correct myself. Maybe that's not too much product if you're trying to use it all over the face. So it's blending into the skin. It's, like I said, it's kind of peeling up a little bit on the back of my hand. So, I mean, that still, in my opinion, might be too much product. I'm just going to leave it there because you can see, hopefully you can see that it's peeling. But it does have a cooling effect. Like the back of my hand does feel very cool. Like I'm blowing a fan on it almost. And it does look very, very smooth. So I do think that this is a primer that's going to make the skin look really blurred and smooth. I can definitely see how it's going to help to diminish pores. And, you know, this might be a product that you want to use on days where you just don't want to wear makeup and you just want something to kind of make the skin have like a soft matte finish, blurred effect. This could be a product that could work for you. Now, moving on to the foundation. This foundation has a total of 29 shades. It does retail for $37, and we get a total of 1 ounce or 30 milliliters of product. The full name is going to be the Easy Blur Natural Airbrush Foundation with Niacinamide. The shade that I have is 430N, and this is described for tan skin with a golden neutral undertone. Let me just say I really enjoyed the look of this foundation against my skin. Getting into the details of this foundation, this is claiming to be a lightweight, medium to buildable coverage foundation that's non-comedogenic and ultra blurring for an airbrushed finish. It's infused with 1.5% niacinamide that will smooth and refine the look of uneven texture and tone. It also has in it silica, which is a pore blurring ingredient that will result in a natural airbrush finish. This is also vegan and cruelty-free. And so it says that Huda created the most lightweight, non-comedogenic, ultra blurring foundation with medium to buildable coverage. Easy Blur has, once again, niacinamide in it, and pore blurring silica for the most natural airbrushed finish. Okay, so upon application, and especially after I first applied it onto the skin, I was like, whoa, Sally. The blurred effect of just the foundation alone, I was like, okay. So when I applied this on the face and I looked at my face with the primer and foundation and just with the foundation, I do feel like we had more blurred skin on the side with the primer and the foundation. But I was like, the foundation looks really good by herself. Okay, and I said, all right. It blended very easily into the skin. It is a thicker formula, so it is a squeezy tube, which I do like squeezy tubes. They're just easier to like get product out. This is a nice like sturdy plastic, so I do like that. I like that the cap has like a nice snug closure, so it's not gonna be anything that's gonna fall off. I mean, it's a twist cap, but it just feels like good quality plastic. And then the formula of the foundation isn't too runny. It's not too thick. Like, I was like, this is all looking really, really, really good. So once I had, you know, foundation on the face, I was like, I am really enjoying how this is looking. Now, I would agree that it had a very nice natural finish to the skin. Nothing that was overly matte, which I am really happy about because most of the time, Huda's complexion products don't work for me because they're too matte. I really enjoyed the stick foundation and I enjoyed her concealer. But the loose powder I don't have because I don't care how little of the powder I use. It just looks too matte on the skin and it feels very matte on the skin, like very drying. And some other formulas of her foundations were just too dry for my liking. So I was really happy that like this blended nice. It had a nice natural finish upon initial application, and I was like, we're on to something. Okay, so lastly, I went in with this Easy Bake and Snatched powder in the shade called Cherry Blossom Cake. So this is her pink powder in this pressed powder formula. And if you're not aware of, this particular powder, I'll just give you a little bit of facts about it. It's a creamy, hydrating, non-comedogenic pressed powder designed for targeted brightening, lifting, and setting for medium coverage and a natural finish. So even though this is not her loose powder, I thought we could use it just to try to get a feel for her 3-step routine. And when I applied this on the skin, y'all, and I looked at my face in the mirror, I was like, whoa, Huda is onto something. My skin looked so blurred. It looked so perfected and so freaking smooth, okay? I was so here for that. And I definitely noticed a difference on this side of my face that had the powder, primer, and foundation compared to this side of the face that just had the foundation and powder. So I was like, okay, I can see why she's, promoting all 3 products, because I'm seeing that blurred effect, okay? Now, I am sorry, I did not get footage of my face completely before going throughout the day. So the footage that you're seeing was right after I applied it, and I just wanted you all to see like what this looked like on the face, okay? Fast forward to about 4 hours in, I want to say, was it 4 hours in? Yeah, about 4 hours in, I go to the bathroom and I was like, okay, we're a little more dewy than I thought we would be, because I just assumed like it's Huda, it's going to be matte, right? That was just what was in my head. And so I was like, okay, we're not looking matte, we're not looking oily, we're a little dewy, but we're okay. So I have had this foundation on now for over 12 hours. I want to come in close so we can see how things are looking. You guys, I have not felt this oily and greasy in a very long time, and I'm very shocked. Okay, so just in case you don't know my skin type, I have pretty normal skin. If I am going to produce some oils, it's usually just like slightly around my nose, but nothing major. And I love me a good dew, okay? I tend to gravitate more towards natural finish, satin finish foundations. So like, I'm not afraid of some shine, but I am really taken aback by the amount of like dew that I am producing. I look like an oil slick. And I was not expecting this at all. Not at all. So I want to blot, like very rarely do I have a foundation where I'm like, whoa, I need to blot like ASAP. And I did not, because I'm like, we need to see the results. But I do feel like this is not looking really good on my skin. I have more normal skin, like I mentioned before. I usually, if I do get a little bit, I might get a little bit of like dew around my nose, but just this much oil, I am taken aback. And I don't like it. I don't like the way we're looking like this. Now, what I will say is I have a nice fine line right here. You also see some texture right here. No settling into my fine lines. We're also not emphasizing this texture in the sense of like, I don't feel like when I'm looking at my face far away, you can see the bumps that I have here. And on the perimeter of my face, even though I do have some, some shine there, it's not as bad. So here are my thoughts as to why I am potentially looking so oily. Number one, I didn't use enough of the Easy Blur Primer because I didn't go in with 2 finger lengths worth of product. And of course, I only kept it on one side. However, I feel like even though I didn't use the recommended amounts, like, should it have left me looking this oily? Okay. The other thing that I thought was maybe the powder just wasn't like matte enough, but it is a setting powder. The other powders that I would typically use are not going to be heavy, like thicker grained powders like the loose powder is from Huda. So I feel like even if I would have used a different powder, I might have still looked oily because those powders are lighter in their weight than Huda Beauty's loose powder. So I am thinking, you know, this is my first time wearing it, so I will have to like preface everything that I'm saying with a little asterisk, and you know, until I wear this more. I think it's the foundation that has niacinamide in it, and sometimes when your foundation has skincare ingredients in it, it cannot agree with the skincare that you put on your face. Like there was another foundation, and I can't think of it. It did not like skincare on my face. Like it literally was like, you put on a toner, put on your eye cream, and let me do the rest. I wish I could remember the foundation. I can't think of it now. Maybe it'll come back to me. But that foundation, like it did not like any other skincare. It broke up when I put like a lot of skincare underneath it, or I should say my normal skincare routine. It just didn't sit well. So my first thought is, even though this doesn't have a lot of skincare in it, does this not like the skincare that I had down before? Like, does it not want to be playing with other skincare? My second thought that I normally experience with either Huda's foundations or foundations that are too matte is that when your skin, biology moment here, let's sit on it. When your skin feels suffocated, meaning that your skin feels like the moisture has been taken out of it, it's going to cause your oil glands to produce more oils. That's why if you have oily skin, you still need to hydrate your skin really well, because the more you suck the oils out, the more the oil glands are gonna think like, oh no, the skin's not properly hydrated, let's produce more oils. And the problem is with that is that if you produce more oil than you need to, it leads to more oily skin, which can lead to acne and all of that. I've noticed that when I've worn foundations that are too matte for my skin, I look like this, especially in my T-zone where my skin is like, I'm too dry. The weird thing is my skin does not feel dry, so I don't know what it is. I really don't. My third thought was maybe this foundation just needs a more powerful, or like maybe a more heavier powder to like keep the oils at bay. And if that's the case, then this is not going to be my cup of tea either, because I don't like powders that are like very mattifying, because they just make my skin look too matte. They make my skin feel heavy and uncomfortable, and then I go back to the drawing board of like creating too many oils because my skin feels suffocated and like it's not breathing. I don't really know what it is just yet, but I'm gonna wear this again to see, like, is it the foundation? When I wear this again, I'm gonna use my normal powder. I'm gonna use my normal primers. Like for me, if I wanna have like a mattified T-zone, I like to go in with the water powder serum. If I'm going in with a foundation that I know is kind of dewy, I'll go in with my balm powder. Those are like my go-to primer-like products that I will use when I want my T-zone to be more mattified, like a soft matte finish. So I do want to touch up. I want to see, can we touch up with this particular foundation? So I'm going to go in with the Easy Bake powder. I'm going to take my powder puff and just use a clean in, and we're going to see how this touches up. All right, so let's come in. Ooh. And just to put this and I do not like how this touched up. You guys, I don't like to talk bad about products, but it just is not working for me. So now I feel like you can see where the foundation has started to separate, like it's separating a bit around my mouth. I feel like it's aggregating around my little mustache and my upper lip. To me, the foundation looks worn, and it doesn't look like it wore well. If you know me, you know I don't like to talk bad about products. I always try to find a way to recommend a product to you and how it might work for you, even if it doesn't work for me. So here are my initial thoughts. And if you want an updated video of me maybe trying like different primers, different powders, let me know, because I feel a little perplexed with these results. Like I feel like I did something wrong and the results shouldn't be like this, because the foundation so far on Sephora's website has 5 stars. And like I said, when I first put this on, I was like, oh, this is about to be like winner. This might be like my new favorite foundation. So I'm very shocked by these end of the day results. Okay, I would recommend this primer if you're looking for a non-silicone based primer that's gonna blur your pores, that won't feel heavy on the skin, that you can wear either by itself or underneath makeup. I do think that this primer like checks off those boxes. I can attest to this like keeping my makeup all day, because even on the side that I use the primer, I mean, to me the makeup still doesn't look good. So I cannot agree with this claim that like it helped my makeup stay refreshed and looked good. But that's also with a little asterisk, because once again, I'm gonna put user error all up and through this foundation. I mean, all up and through this review. Maybe I didn't use enough. And maybe, you know, this foundation needs more of this primer. But I would recommend the primer. I don't think it's a need if you have like a pore blurring primer that you love. I would say if you're on the market for one, definitely check this one out. But if you have one that you love and you're like, this one works for me, it does exactly what I need it to do, then I would say try it if you want to, but like I don't think it's one of those primers that's like you've never experienced this before. This definitely reminds me consistency-wise of the Smashbox, like the OG Smashbox primer. Definitely gives me the same type of feel and effect without the silicone. With the foundation, I feel perplexed, because this foundation is supposed to be one for everyone. It's gonna have a natural finish. And upon first impression, like when I first put this on, I would have said, run to the store and get this ASAP. How it wore though, like, I can't fully recommend this to you yet. Like maybe I wore it too long. Maybe this is not one of those foundations that you can wear, you know, from sunup to sundown. But I do, if I remember correctly, I think this is supposed to be a long-lasting formula. And most of her complexion, like, it lasts very long. I would say, like, I don't know who to recommend this to, because I felt very oily. So I feel like this wouldn't be a preference for people who had oily skin, because you're going to look even more oily. And I would say if you had dry skin, maybe this could be an option for you. But I need to wear this more in order to say like, yes, I recommend this, but this is who I recommend it to. No, I don't recommend this because yada, yada, yada. I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no. What I would love is that if you have tried this foundation and you love it, it works for you, please leave all of that down in the comment section below, because like I said, it could literally just be user error and this foundation could be a winner. I feel like this foundation has potential, which is why I want to keep experimenting with it, because I would love to be able to be like, here it is, guys. This is where I messed up. Here's how I recommend it, and let's keep it going. Okay. In terms of this particular shade, I really do enjoy this shade, and I feel like the shade range is pretty good. So I feel like this foundation has potential. I don't want to write it off yet, but I just can't fully go yes, because I got some things I got to work out through with this particular foundation. And then for the Easy Bake powder, I've had this powder for almost an entire year. I really do enjoy it, but I think that this powder, and this is where the user error might be, this powder is marketed as a setting powder, but in all honesty, it really isn't. This is honestly more like a finishing powder. And I was told this by a makeup artist, Desiree. She was like, a lot of people are not using it correctly. This is a finishing powder, or this should be used as a finishing powder, not a setting powder. So that also might be the user error, because maybe if I would have gone in with like my traditional setting powders, since I don't have the Easy Bake loose powder, maybe we wouldn't have looked like this. And we would have had better results. So maybe this was the issue, but I'm also gonna say, just from my experience with foundations, if you don't know, I am a foundation junkie. At any given point of the year, I have upwards of 100 foundations in my collection. That is my most favorite makeup product. So when I say I know foundations, I know foundations. And even if you don't necessarily do things like in a perfect way, if a foundation is solid, personal opinion, I should be able to slap this on my face, maybe not even set it, go about my day, and get a very good feel for this foundation. And even though I didn't set it with maybe the most heaviest or like the most like worker horse powder, for me to have looked that greasy at the end of the day, and then to me the real test was trying to touch it up. Because if you have radiance, like natural radiance, or you have like just a more natural finish to a foundation, but like that foundation is still locked in place, it's still where it needs to be, then when you go to touch up, it should touch up very nicely. To me, when you try to touch up a foundation and you can see it breaking apart underneath the powder and it's just not touching up the best, that's when I feel like, okay, it might be the foundation where it's not the best at touching up at this point. So like I said, maybe I needed to have touched up at like the 8-hour mark to where it could look nicer now at the 12-hour mark. Or like I said, maybe this is not the powder I should have been using. Maybe I should have gone in with, like, for me, Evolution Powder by Danessa Myricks, or I have really been loving the LYS Triple Fix Powder. Those have been my go-to for setting my under eye, well, really just all over the face. Those are usually my go-tos. So we're going to experiment further with this foundation. We're not going to write her off yet, but we need to have a little talk with her again, because I want to make sure that, you know, I'm giving you guys my best experience with it. And if I say no, I want to be able to comfortably go like, these are the reasons why. So we got a little question mark over her. However, I do recommend this Easy Bake powder, but remember, with the pressed powder, use it as a finishing powder over a setting powder, because it just works better with that. And then the primer, definitely recommend if you're interested. So like I said before, let me know your thoughts of this foundation. If you tried it, you like it. If you don't like it, also feel free to leave that feedback, because, you know, I am only but one person. I always say that. And, you know, let's say you did try it with some other things and you felt it didn't work for you. Like, it's always great to hear other people's experiences and just to know what works and what doesn't work. So those are my thoughts. Let me know if you want me to do a follow-up video where we see this again in action with maybe some different products. I'd love to get that out to you guys. And if you've made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad, because we love to have you. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye, guys.